Here we go. Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Jacksonian, episode 55. I'm yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and I have with me is the host of Power Hour LSU, Power Hour SEC, and Power Hour NFL, the one and only himself, Carter Bryant, as we'll be going over quite a lot on the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the surprises and disappointments of the SEC in 2024, and much, much more. And let me tell you something, everyone, it's going to be a wild ride.
Let's go. I love it.
How you doing today, good buddy?
It's good. It's good. Thanks for all the work you've done for my buddy Mark Rogers and the voice of college football. And congrats on big number 55, man. 55. I love that number. Actually, that was the first ever jersey number I was issued in middle school. So 55 is a big number. Derek Brooks was, he was a Buccaneer. He was one of my favorite players, linebackers growing up. So it's good to talk to you, man.
Oh, nice, man. That is awesome. 55 on a big sombrero player himself. Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And before we start the show, would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm just a YouTuber. I'm not anybody special. I do NFL breakdowns. I do college football breakdowns, and I've been in college football media since I was a freshman at LSU. Is when I actually started back in what year was that? 2008. So the '07 national championship year was my last full year before becoming a media member, and your fandom changes when you actually start doing content. At least it does to a certain extent. So did that, done media at some really cool places, Sirius XM, Bleacher Report, and all that stuff. But the dream was to be big on YouTube and build my following there, and then hopefully do national media one day on a big scale. But that's it, man. I'm excited about LSU Bama week. Excited about this NFL season. Excited that my Saints are going to be getting a new coach, and life's been good, man.
Well, we'll say I'm glad we're talking about the Saints because we'll be starting off with them.
Okay, yeah,
Because they had a huge day against the Cowboys in week 2,
they did.
but it's almost like they let it go to their heads because they lost 7 straight games. And I was telling a lot of friends this, and I've said it since the Saints hired him. And I'm not even a Saints fan. I'm a Titans fan, of course, but it's just like, you're not going to win with Dennis Allen. You're not going to
No,
have the Sean Payton years. You're
no,
going to go back to those dung heap years that you had before you had Jim Morris Sr.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right about Dennis Allen, and you say you're a Titans fan, but you got a Jets helmet behind you.
Yes, I do, because my dad got me that for Christmas in 2021. That's like a little I forget what you call it. It's one of those
Yeah, I
little.
know exactly what my dad had some of those as well. But yeah, it's good to see that they fired him. And for me, I think they need to start fresh with the new GM and everything. And I appreciate everything Mickey Loomis did for my New Orleans Saints. But there is a time when you must turn the page, and it's time to start with a brand new, fresh look on the franchise. So really excited about the future of the team, but it's also going to be tough because obviously the NFL is constantly changing. So life is crazy right now in the NFL. I also cover really all the LSU players in the NFL as well. So I've been really excited about Jaden Daniels and obviously Joe Burrow, Malik Neighbors, and Devon Gotcha and all those guys. But yeah, man, super excited about LSU Bama this weekend as well.
Oh man, it's gonna be. It's been fun seeing Jaden Daniels make some magic at the
Yeah,
Commanders, and it seems like to me that the Dan Snyder stench has been washed off of
yeah,
Washington. That has
yeah.
been humongous for Daniels. Like he definitely needed that. And I was thinking about the coaching candidates for the Saints. Could we see Joe Brady possibly be the next head
Ooh,
coach there?
Yeah, you could. I mean, Joe Brady, of course, has history with the LSU Tigers and the New Orleans Saints. So, yeah, you could see that. You could see quite a few young offensive hotshots coming to New Orleans. But obviously, I think the big thing, Jackson, is there are so many teams in the NFL that are not tanking, but they're terrible. So it's going to be a battle for who has the top pick and who will be the top quarterback that comes out. And there will be a lot of pressure on the Saints, who have never selected a quarterback in the first round of the NFL draft. In fact, since 1980, the Saints are the only team to have not selected any one position in the first round outside of quarterback. Every other team has drafted every single position outside of special teams in the first round. The only team to have not selected one position since 1980 are the New Orleans Saints. It's absolutely crazy to think about, and should be interesting, the future of the team.
Some old classic games I keep thinking about, which unfortunately was the losing side for the Saints. 1978 Falcons, the Big Ben Hail Mary pass from the Falcons against Saints, and then the 1979 season opener where the Saints lost in overtime due to a muff punt against the Atlanta Falcons. I remember watching like old highlights of those from NFL Fantastic Finishes, which I believe was narrated by Pat Summerall.
Dang, your football knowledge is crazy. Yeah, I know nothing about those games. I'm not. I've always said I'm not as up to date with like the old school stuff. So maybe that's my Saints fandom isn't as deep. I also suck with vintage LSU football stuff as well. So yeah, I need to learn my history. You're over here schooling me. I'm supposed to be the expert, but that's you, man. That's the
I do my best.
Jacksonian. I'm on your home turf, episode number 55, baby.
I appreciate it, man. I do my best to make sure I know a lot about everything going on as much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah,
It's like
yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
it's a good question. Um, I think
Because
we could see
both our teams suck. So the Titans suck.
obviously.
Yeah, and we suck. So give it to me hot.
I think for the first time in the Super Bowl era, we will see the Detroit Lions win a Super Bowl. I think they can pull it off. The last time they won an NFL title of any kind was 1957. Only 4 teams in the NFL have never won a Super Bowl. In
Okay, let me see if
Super
I can
Bowl
name them. Let me see if I can name them. All right.
Okay.
Atlanta Falcons.
The Falcons have been to Super Bowl, but
Okay.
they've been to Super Bowl, but they've never won it, but
Okay, so I got that
that
one.
I meant to say 4 teams that have never been to
Oh,
Super
never
Bowl.
been to the Super Bowl. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's the two expansion franchises, obviously the Jaguars and Texans.
Yep.
Even though the Jaguars should have made it, the Miles Jack fumble a few years ago. But Jaguars, Texans, Titans. No. Steve McNair. What am I talking about? I'm a big Steve McNair fan. Not the
Yep.
Titans. Jaguars, Texans. Who else have not been to a Super Bowl? Current NFL team. Let's see. Cardinals have been. I don't know. Give me the other two.
Cleveland Browns and
Okay,
the
yeah.
Detroit Lions. Like, yeah,
And
because
the
last
Lions.
yeah, the Cleveland Browns last time they played for an NFL title of any kind was 1969 against the Vikings.
Okay.
And
Do you just know this, or are you looking at a screen?
I just know it.
There you go. Good. That's good. All right. Well, tell me this. Who's going to win LSU Alabama? Who's going to win?
I think that Alabama wins a tight one. It's
Oh,
gonna
come
be
on, Jackson. I'm going to sign off
sorry.
episode 55. You're going to be looking at episode 56. Dude, you're supposed to be telling me that my LSU Tigers are winning.
Hey, it's a toss up,
I
honestly.
don't want a toss up. I want certainty. I will sign out this show right now if you do not say LSU wins. No, I'm kidding. Alabama very much could win. Obviously, LSU has struggled with their running game. LSU has struggled with turnovers. You got to watch out with that with Garrett Nussmeier, while he's also done a lot of really good things. And then, of course, defensively, LSU's played better, but Jalen Milroe can run, and that's obviously been the big Achilles heel. The two worst LSU defensive games, the second half versus A&M and the South Carolina game happened when they played quarterback second run 4.40s. And Jalen Milroe, who I think has been banged up the last couple of weeks. Are you a Tennessee Vols guy?
Nope.
Oh, who's your college team?
Alabama.
No, you traitor! You didn't tell me that before, or did you tell me you're an Alabama guy?
I said I was an Alabama guy. I'm from Alabama. The
Okay, well,
voice
then
called.
what the hell is this? These Alabama links in your private chat? What is this?
That's for the end of the show when I tell the audience about LSU week and from earlier this week and the call-in show.
No, you didn't. You did not tell me you're a Bama fan. Then how? Why is there no Bama stuff in your backdrop? Or where are you right now?
I'm in Marineville, Alabama, 15 minutes away from the border.
But where the hell are you right now? Are you at your house or is this a radio studio?
I'm in my office.
And you soundproofed your whole office with all the soundproof? God bless America.
My IT guy helped me out with all this.
So I thought you were in a radio studio with how well it was soundproofed. You reminded me of my old job. What the heck is happening here? How did you research this and say, I want to have the absolute best sound? Because your mic does sound amazing.
Well, honestly, I was like, whatever mic works. And, this was the best.
Okay. And God, you got a full studio, man. These are nicer than some of the studios I was in at SXM. Like, this is insane, man. You're going to the moon. God bless. I'm honored now. So I'll put aside.
I'm gonna add some pictures right here in the back.
Let me guess. It's not going to be Joe Burrow. It's going to be Joe Namath. I guarantee it.
I've got the 1979 goal line stand from the 79 Sugar Bowl. I've got the 2021 World Series of the Atlanta Braves.
You're a Braves fan too? God bless America. What is wrong with our society? What is wrong with our society? A Braves fan. Okay. How do you spell Andrew Jones?
ANDREWJO.
No, it's spelled with a U. Andrew Jones is spelled with a U.
But I know he was a rookie in 1996.
Okay, all right.
But unfortunately, we fell short against the Yanks. We didn't get the repeat.
I'm just messing with you. I actually do think it is spelled with the a U. That was the only Brave I liked. I couldn't stand Chipper. I couldn't stand Jeff Francoeur. Couldn't stand Bobby Cox. I liked Fred McGriff. I liked Greg Maddux. I liked Tom Glavine. But don't miss me with people say Chipper Jones was a better infielder than Derek Jeter. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. Get out of here. Who's better all time, Chipper Jones or Derek Jeter? Chipper Jones or Derek Jeter?
There's no debate. Derek Jeter all the way.
Thank you.
Because I'll be honest with you, Major League Baseball is not the same without Derek Jeter.
Thank you. Look at you getting on my side. Derek Sanderson Jeter, born in Michigan. Favorite food is chicken parmesan. I freaking love Derek Sanderson Jeter. And
who doesn't?
It's hard not to, man. My light-skinned brethren, the guy that has a lineup of women who no one would come close to, any celebrity.
And he did play in the first two World Series that played in November, the 01 World Series and in the 09 World Series.
How do you even know this stuff? I'm a Jeter fan. I don't even know. I will admit something publicly on the show, the Jacksonian. I've said it on my channel, but this will be the first platform that I've shared this. I'm no longer a Yankee fan.
Why is that?
But when Jeter and Rivera retired, I just like those two. That's it. And I've never had this happen as a sports fan ever. Because I liked the Yankees when they were on it, but I kind of became like the LeBron stands out there. When LeBron goes to a different team, you're just a fan of LeBron. So I realized it was the first time that ever happened to me because I like the team more than the individual, right? Even though like I do root heavily for LSU players in the NFL and all that stuff, NBA, WNBA, whatever. But that was literally the first time when that happened. Like when they left, I was like, I don't really care. Like, yeah, I had a few people text me knowing that I collected Jeter stuff growing up. They were like, "Hey, what did you think of the World Series?" And I said, "What about it? I don't. Aren't you mad that the Dodgers won?" I was like, "I really don't. I honestly really don't care." They're like, "There's not a piece of you that wanted the Yankees to win." I was like, "The only piece of me that wanted the Yankees to win that World Series, Jackson, is the piece of me that's all Derek Jeter threw out the first pitch." That was the only thing. But no, back to LSU Bama. I do feel this will be an all-time game. I like the fact that this is a de facto playoff game. I like the fact that Nick Saban will be there. A lot of LSU fans are kind of in the middle on Saban's going to be at the game. He's going to be probably going to be on the sideline. I'm also kind of interested where he's going to sit during the game. Or if he's even I don't even know if he's attending. I would like to think that he is, but yeah, I like the fact that game day will be there the first time it's been there since 2019 LSU. So really pumped up for the weekend, and there's nothing like LSU Alabama. Let me ask you, as an Alabama fan, do you get more excited to play LSU or Auburn?
I like the Alabama LSU game, all right, but I like playing Auburn and Tennessee more because
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's one game I wish we would play more. You're gonna be shocked by this. Georgia Tech.
Wait,
Here's
Georgia Tech?
They're in our fight song, and it's weird that we hadn't played them in 40 years.
Wait, why is Georgia Tech in the Alabama fight song?
It's been that way our whole because this was when Georgia Tech was in the SEC from 1932 to 1963.
I don't believe you.
That's the truth.
Dude, I still don't know how you know all this stuff. It's diabolical.
Like, I read history.
There you go. But yeah, sure. I'll tell you this. I don't know if Brent Key wants to see Alabama on the schedule again, but yeah, sure. Why not? Alabama, Georgia Tech, run it back. I do think.
Fortunately, they will run it back in 2029, so that's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, because they already got the non-conference games scheduled out that far. I was trying to think, could like an all-time Georgia Tech team beat like any of the Saban Alabama teams? Like I now that I think about it, it's like Calvin Johnson at receiver.
Ooh.
And then I'm trying to think of all the other who are some other great Georgia Tech football players. Come on, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
But Jahmyr Gibbs, would he play for the Alabama team? But I'm just trying to make the absolute best Georgia Tech team. But do you know any other? I'm trying to think. Georgia Tech players in the NFL. Dude, there's honestly not that much. Okay, Harrison Butker, a kicker. Demaryius Thomas. Dude, no, they would get crushed. I think any of the Saban teams would crush their all-time great team.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have a lot of good offensive players, but a lot of schools have a lot of good offensive players. But yeah, I guess any Alabama team would beat an all-time Georgia Tech team. So it shouldn't be an annual matchup. If I'm going to take any of the Saban or any of the modern Saban teams over Georgia, unless you just want to throw a jump ball to Calvin Johnson every time. But who would be the quarterback? Would their current quarterback? Let me see. Would their current quarterback be their whatever his name is, the Texas A&M guy?
Oh,
Um,
Haynes King.
Haynes King, dude. Taylor Bennett. I, dude, they would crush him. They would crush him. But yeah, I know this interview's gone off the rails. But you asked
Oh
me what.
no, that's what the show's for. You know,
Okay,
we just
all right,
have some fun, and we just have some fun, plenty of it.
yeah, um,
No worries, but it's a fun show. I'm having fun so far,
yeah.
man.
You, you ask a few more, and then we'll skedaddle, man. What else
Oh,
is on your
that's
mind?
here we go. So I've been looking at the SEC this year, and
Okay.
there's been like a couple coaches that have been talked about as hot seat coaches. Sam Pittman and Billy Napier. Now,
Yeah.
it's just been kind of flip floppy with Billy Napier. See getting fired, see not getting fired. It's been like a stock market, up and down. It looked like he was going to get fired after Texas A&M, but fortunately, they beat Mississippi State. They beat Central Florida. Things look good. They finally beat Kentucky. They slayed that dragon against them, ending that 3-game losing streak. They are now going against Texas on 11 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah. I- I'll
What's
I'll say this about Florida. I think this will be the first time um, in a while where a college quarterback, young quarterback, will determine the future of the coach. Right? Let's just say, like, if DJ Lagway doesn't get hurt versus Georgia, all right, I think people need to really go back and rewatch that game because Florida was still able to hang around with Georgia. Like, really, it was still competitive. And when Lagway went out, does Florida win that game with Lagway still at quarterback? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's kind of tough to say. But let's just say, with this schedule being the way that it is now, let's just say Florida goes 2-2 the rest of the way. It's going to be impossible to not keep Billy, knowing that this 4-week stretch outside of Florida State, of course, is about to get nasty. It's about to get crazy for them. And I think if Lagway is able to go, and we'll see what his health looks like, they think that the injury is not as serious. We'll see what happens. Then we could see Billy being brought back next season. Uh, so I'm kind of 50-50 there. And then obviously Sam Pittman. This is a situation, Jackson, I'm pretty close to, right? I do a lot of Arkansas stuff on Power Hour SEC. I played high school football in Arkansas. My all three of my best men in my wedding went to Arkansas. So, it's a fun program, right? It's a fun program to cover. It is a fan base that has now openly become a pure basketball school with Coach Cal now there and Nolan Richardson and the history of Arkansas basketball. There, Arkansas puts guys in the NBA every year, and it's a state of 3 million people, which is insane. So this has become a basketball school, and there's a lot of positive momentum with that. But fans still want to know what the future of the football team looks like. And Sam Pittman has 3 blowout losses in the last 2 Novembers, including this one, this last one this past weekend versus Ole Miss. So right now, I would put Sam Pittman returning purely, and this is purely speculative. Once again, no inside sources or whatever. I would put it at about a 55% chance he will not be the coach next season. And of that 55% chance, I would say there is a 60-ish% chance that it's him just retiring and taking a reduced buyout, and a 40% chance of him just getting outright fired. So there's a lot of different things at play here, and we'll see what happens. Also, Sam does have a minor health issue with his hip. So he
uh,
could still coach, but college football recruiting stuff, you're traveling, you're on a lot of planes and you're on the sideline and all that stuff. So he is very intent on living in Arkansas too. So maybe he rides off into the sunset. This has been a good season compared to expectations for Arkansas, but there are quite a few people that want him to go.
well, on the bright side, when they go against Missouri on rivalry week, it's not going to be like going up against a Chase Daniel Missouri from 2007.
Yeah,
This is a Missouri team that let 2023 go to their head, and they've
yeah, they
looked
did.
very overrated this season.
They have. Yes. Yes. And one of my biggest stances on college football teams this year, Jackson, was fading Missouri. I thought this team that was going to be on a downturn. I understand I got LSU crap in my backdrop. I was a big Blake Baker fan. I was a big fan of Blake Baker when he was at Missouri before it was even known that he was coming to LSU. He leaves, all those good players on their defense go to the NFL draft, and they're just not as good as they were last year. I think we can all agree that Missouri peaked last year. So they were one of my big sells before the season. And yeah, that's a very winnable game for Arkansas. And if they're able to win it, that's going to give Sam a lot of momentum potentially for coming back next year.
Well, and before we wrap the show up, I will say I'm personally pulling for Arkansas to pull off an upset against Texas for two reasons. One, because like you said with Sam Pittman, this could be his last year. And number
Yeah.
two, this is the 55th anniversary of the game of the century from 1969.
Yeah.
How awesome would it be if Arkansas upset Texas at 11 a.m. on November 16th, 2024?
Yeah, look, Jackson, I'll tell you this. There are, and we're younger. I'm guessing you're in mid 20s, early 30s. Is that accurate?
27.
Okay, yeah, mid 20 or 30s. Okay, good. I didn't mean to be ageist against
No,
you.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Uh,
I look younger than I really look.
yeah. Well, there you go. That's a good thing. Um, it's interesting because most modern Arkansas fans hate LSU the most, and I get it. But true Arkansas fans hate Texas the most, going back to their SWC days. So this game, like the LSU rivalry, means a lot more to Arkansas than it does Texas. And it's weird, as if you are an Arkansas fan, that the teams that you hate the most don't really give a rip about you. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? Because you care more about that game than the other team. And a few years ago, Arkansas welcomed Texas and they beat the hell out of them. Absolutely beat the brakes out of them in Fayetteville. So it's a weird spot for Texas. That is a game, in theory, that they can afford to lose. And obviously, Texas, you take a look at their final schedule, they do have the next week versus Kentucky. They'll take care of business there.
Oh, yeah.
But let's be honest. The biggest game in the SEC this year is not Alabama Auburn. It's not Alabama LSU. We all know what it is, baby. Texas A&M.
Yes, it's back. The Texas A&M rivalry's back. My Christmas wish for a decade has finally come true. It's totally back.
That's a real. And I'm not saying all the other games are not real rivalries. What's your favorite rivalry in the SEC?
The Iron Bowl.
Okay, yeah, obviously. And
Iron Bowl and third Saturday in October for me.
Okay. But take your Alabama bias out.
Right.
What's your favorite rivalry?
That's a good one. The Magnolia Bowl, Ole Miss, LSU.
Oh, you like that? Okay. But yeah, you're also a historian. So, you know the importance of that game in the 50s, of course, with Billy.
Yeah, I hate it when some people go, oh, that game's not important. It's like, read the history of the Ole Miss LSU rivalry, please.
Yeah. I mean, that honestly was the biggest moment. LSU won a natty in 58, but the Billy Cannon
Halloween night.
Yeah. That was like the first big LSU thing in the 50s. And it matters. It matters a lot to the older faction of fans at LSU. But honestly, my favorite rivalry is Ole Miss, Mississippi State. The Egg Bowl will always be my favorite rivalry. And Texas A&M is number 2. These schools should play every year, and they should play every year for eternity. It's what God wants. And these are the 2 biggest schools in Texas, and they deserve each other. I mean, it's It's just how it is, right? It's yeah, and I'm really freaking excited for that game, as are a lot of Texas fans, as are a lot of A&M fans. So if you're a fan or a player on either one of those teams, you really got to lock in because you don't want to look ahead to that game. You got to play every week the same. And what I hope, Jackson, and this would make it really, really, really spicy, is I actually really do hope Texas loses to Arkansas. Uh, Not necessarily because I like Arkansas more than Texas. I probably do, but I want Texas and I want Arkansas to be Texas because I want Texas A&M, both of them having 2 losses, and that being a de facto playoff game.
Nice.
That'd be nice. And I think the cheapest ticket to get into Texas A&M right now is like a $1,500 for one. It's just insane for a regular season college football game. I can understand if it was a national championship. There's a lot of corporate people that go, but that is a game I'm most excited about this year. So really pumped up about that. This is probably the most exciting November I can remember. And I don't know about you, but I am anti-playoff expansion. I hate the 12-team playoff, but I do like the fact that this month is it is more interesting because there's just so many more teams that are vying for playoff spots. So I do like that aspect of it.
And who says the regular season isn't interesting anymore? Like,
Me, I do. I'll debate you until I'm blue in the face.
it's okay.
Now, I'll say this: is the regular season more interesting? Yes, I would be I would be lying to myself if it wasn't, because I just laid out how many more games are interesting at this time of year, and that's the case throughout college football. But I stand on principle, knowing that I don't think a team that loses to Northern Illinois should still be in any playoff conversation. But that's where we are right now with Notre Dame. They're comfortably in. I mean, it's not like they're barely in. They're comfortably in the field of 12 if they win out. All right. Last year, where would they be, Jackson? If they lost to Northern Illinois?
They'd be out.
Out. So I miss that, and I will miss that. Okay, and I understand teams have bad weeks, and this gives it more wiggle room, and there are some benefits of that, especially in the portal era, and there's so many new teams. It takes a while to gel and all that stuff. I get that argument, but you do miss the immediacy of it, right? And that's why I'm kind of excited that LSU and Alabama both have 2 losses, because for what I would say, actually 2007 all the way up until now, that game was a de facto playoff game every year, right? You win and you're probably going to the SEC championship, whoever the winner of that game was. You lose, you're out. And that's what made 2022 LSU Alabama so epic. And part of why I'm excited, Jackson, that both teams have 2 losses and they're still going to play is it feels like that. You understand what I'm saying? Do you feel the same way?
Mhm.
There
It's
you go.
gonna be fun seeing Alabama LSU as a playoff elimination game, because I mean, it's like a couple years back, or like as far as 5 years ago, if Alabama and LSU had both 2 losses, we'd be talking about who's gonna have more of a chance in playing in New Year's Six Bowl. We
Right.
wouldn't be talking about who's in the playoffs. But if they both had 1 loss going into, like, say, 2019 or 2018, then we'd have been looking at, oh, who's gonna be in the top 4?
Right. Exactly. So that's why I'm kind of excited that both of them have 2 losses, because it does bring that back. Now, of course, I would prefer us have 0 losses, but that's not the case. But Jackson, I really appreciate you.
Oh, here
Best
we
of luck
go.
in all your endeavors. And it's simple, people. Just Power Hour SEC, Power Hour NFL, Power Hour LSU. Just type that in the YouTube bar,
There
and
we go.
you will
And check
immediately.
out There we go. And check out Carter Bryant on Power Hour LSU on X and on Power Hour LSU on Instagram, and on Carter the Power on X and Instagram. And you can also check me out on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube Jackson BOCFB on X or Twitter, and Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads. And also check me out on Alabama with the Voice College Football, where I host Crimson Tide Live Monday afternoons,
Yeah.
5 p.m. Central Time, with Johnny Burtz as we go over our take on the latest in Alabama football. And on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, I host the Alabama Call-In Show with Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, where we take your calls. We don't care if you're an Alabama fan, LSU fan, Auburn fan, Tennessee fan. We welcome all. We welcome everybody. Come on in and talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide and your take.
Yeah.
We
Well,
welcome
no,
everybody.
hold
The
on,
more
Jackson.
the merrier.
I'm not done with you yet, man. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
All right. How's life in Tennessee?
Oh, I'm not in Tennessee. I'm 15 minutes away from Tennessee, but
Oh,
seems
where do you live exactly?
15 minutes away from Tennessee in Meridianville, Alabama. Pretty good, but it's also pretty rainy.
Well, yeah, but um, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I should be still doing the Jacksonian
Let's
and still doing
go.
Alabama with the Voice College Football and still doing a lot of stuff with Mark Rogers and friends at the Voice College Football.
Let's go, dude. Well, I'm a believer in your talent. I really enjoyed doing the show. I enjoyed it a lot more than I initially thought. And I just want to wish you the absolute best in your media career. And yeah, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. And stay away from the cold weather. It's cold out, and I appreciate you coming on for episode 55. It was awesome. And to that, we wish y'all a happy Thursday night, and we will be seeing you later. Stay warm, everybody.